hear thunder, I can see smoke, I can smell trouble coming down the road. You're a dark moon rising on a bayou night. You're a shadow riding on a lightning strike. You're no good for me, baby. I'm no good for you. I know tomorrow I'll hate me for what I'm about to do.
If you're ready, I guess I'm going to be ready.
Yeah. I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do this. Hi, everyone. I'm Big Al Weekley with Uncut Grass and another episode of looking at songwriters and music here on Uncut Grass. With us today is Jordan Rayner from Nashville,
Hey, y'all. How's it going?
Jordan, I guess we're just going to get right into this. It's a conversation. Somebody coined the phrase Nashville's woman in black. So where did that come from?
Well, that's kind of the way that happened. It's kind of a lot like you would see like in a movie about somebody's life. I had a show and it was the biggest show to date that I had done at the time. I was opening for Eli Young Band. It was my first stadium gig. So it was a big deal. I was back there in the back room getting ready, and the MC came back there. He knocked on my dressing room door, and I told him to come in. He said, "All right, we're getting ready to kick off in about 5 minutes." So he said, "Is there anything you want me to introduce you as? Anything you want me to say as I'm introducing you?" And I swear I had not premeditated it. I just said, "I'm Jordan Rayner, Nashville's woman in black." And he was like, "All right, got it." And sure enough, I was standing backstage, I had my guitar ready to take the first song, take the stage. And there was something kind of magic whenever he said, "Please give a Kentucky warm welcome to Nashville's woman in black, Jordan Rayner." And I thought, well, that's that. There's no turning back now.
Your music is like Commander Data on Star Trek. You must have some kind of a positronic net that goes through your body, because there's so many reflections in your music. And I think that we need to start with your roots, because it seems that music is coming from that, and we're even going to dissect the roots. So your mom and dad, your dad was a preacher, Christian,
Yep.
Oklahoma.
That's right. You did do your homework.
I've been to Durant. I've been in Atoka. I've been in that area. It's been a few years.
Yeah.
So a preacher's daughter, and they only allowed Christian music in the house.
That's right, man. I wasn't allowed to listen to any good music. I'm still catching up on good music. It's like I'm 31 years old, and only in the last probably 12 years have I really gotten to dig deep into the music that everybody else kind of takes for granted and grew up on. To this day, I kind of wince to admit that I can't name you a ZZ Top song. Couldn't do it, and it's just, I'm getting to discover, some of the greats as an adult, that people like I said, grew up taking for granted. People like Dolly Parton and Willie Nelson and Reba McEntire, people that everybody grew up on, that I'm getting to fall in love with as a young adult. It sucked at the time, feeling restricted, but I think I've got an appreciation for it in a way that maybe other people don't.
Some of this music that we're going to talk about that you've written.
Yeah.
My thoughts with what I've heard, and everybody has a different opinion. They have different takes on music or song. Your Christian upbringing is reflecting in these songs. And the reason why I say that is because your dad being a minister, you going to church, both sides, the Lord's side, the devil's side.
Yeah, I do.
So here's the curveball question. You afraid to die?
I'm afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of death.
That's a great answer.
I don't want it to hurt, and I don't want it to be long and drug out, but me and Jesus are okay. Once I get there, we're good.
The reason why I say that is, as I mentioned, your songs, that Christian upbringing is reflecting in these songs. Another part of that music reflecting is, to me, Cajun. Have you hung around Cajun people?
You know, I have, and I actually there was a time when I was married, and we honeymooned in New Orleans, and that was my first experience with kind of that deep Louisiana Cajun culture, and it absolutely has captivated me. Like I spent so much time on our honeymoon, like in cemeteries and researching, you know, kind of the voodoo culture, the witch culture. Not that I'm, you know, into Wiccan or anything like that, but just the dark side of it really fascinates me. And so yeah, I've done some shows down there, done some songwriters workshops and stuff down in that area, and it's really something that I enjoy kind of incorporating in my music.
Well, I can tell that. And where I want to go with this is, in our viewing audience here, you understand the Christian part of it, so therefore you are able to inject that into your music if people
right
set up on both sides of it.
Sure.
I want to mention your Facebook. You've got a Facebook page. Now, there is some other Jordan Rayners, but you've got the big banner up there, Nashville's Woman in Black.
Hard to mistake.
Page. It's great. And your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
And you've got, you just newly released the song Blackwater Rise, I think, 2 or 4 months ago on it.
That's right.
Okay. Now, we're going to go back to your dad and mom again here for just a minute. Now, they were musically inclined, right?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, my dad's a bluegrass player. He was an award-winning banjo player. He could tear up anything with strings on it. My mom's a classically trained vocalist, pianist. She's a beast too. So, yeah.
And you can't read a note of music?
I cannot. I can read quarter notes if I'm forced to. That's about as far as it goes.
You have your own theory of music. And I'm not really sure what that is because there's so many sides of it. How many instruments do you play?
Oh, too many. I've got musical ADD pretty bad.
Well, there was a couple other artists that I interviewed, and I told them this, and you're going to be the third one that I told this to. If people really want to know who you are, all they really need to do is listen to your music. They don't have to talk to you.
That's right.
Because everything that reflects from you, and I'm going to tell everybody that I believe, in whatever my opinion's worth, you are real. You're not trying to be a Johnny Cash clone. Probably some of the first artists in a long time I've seen there in Nashville that has not really had to develop a style. It just all comes out in you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do love Johnny Cash. I love his swagger. I love that, he was a little bit of a badass and an outlaw. And, it's funny, I got started playing in prisons. And that was even before, that was kind of back in my, younger days where I was still not really familiar with Johnny's music, wasn't familiar with a lot of secular music. I played in prisons to entertain and, work with people and try to help rehabilitate people. And so whenever I did discover Johnny's music later in life and found out that he kind of did something similar, that was just one more thing that made him dear to me. But no, even back when I was going into prisons, I was wearing black. The whole team would wear pink. And I was like, I'm wearing all the pink I own right here, so yeah, I'm not a wannabe. I'm not a clone. I am what I am. And I'm always honored to be likened to people that I look up to as a result, though.
What is your thoughts when you're on stage, when you walk up and you're looking at your audience for the first time? Do you have any special thoughts or things that you do before you start entertaining? Does a switch flip?
It does. I am, when I'm not in performer mode, I'm actually, surprisingly, I'm a pretty timid person. I have about 2 different anxiety disorders. I have a depressive disorder. And so like in the dressing room leading up to a show, I've got a ton of anxiety. My whole thought process is don't screw up, don't make a fool of yourself. But there is something, and I think that the woman in black thing has kind of helped because it's almost a persona of sorts that once I step onto that stage, that woman in black rolls her shoulders back, puts her hands on a guitar, and my my focus completely changes. That stage, those four corners, that is my domain. That is my territory. I own that place, and I'm able to entertain, engage, do what I need with my audience from my place. And yeah, so there is a little bit of a switch that flips, and I can't explain it, but even like when I'm playing smaller venues or I'm playing a bar and people aren't paying attention to me, it bugs me. And it's not because of an ego thing. My whole thing that makes me tick is I love to entertain people. I love to engage, to interact, play with people. And when I can't, get their attention and I can't interact with them, and, they're basically just talking over me like I'm noise while they're eating dinner, like that starves that entertainer part of me that needs to be that center of attention, so to speak. So, yeah, man, there's kind of two sides to that coin. And I'm really thankful that woman in black is able to give me the confidence that I may not otherwise have.
Well, I know you're going to play a couple songs for us.
Yeah.
I want to make mention about your right hand. Of course, making chords on the guitar, doing the riffs with your left hand, that's a given.
Sure.
But I think the right hand is your most important part. And
I would agree.
I noticed that you're using with your pick your other little fingers at the bottom.
Yeah, it's called hybrid picking.
Yeah. And there's not very many people that actually do that. I know a few famous guitar players that are absolutely famous that do that. And I noticed that, and I hope everybody will notice that in this video or the ones that are on YouTube or Facebook, because that's the first thing I noticed, and that is a very highly execution of great music.
Well, I regret that I didn't take lessons as a kid, because I'm kind of self-taught. I didn't have a concept of like proper technique. All I knew was like what I was hearing on the record, and I just was trying to emulate what I was hearing, and I did it by whatever means I could. And I guess for me, that just ended up being how I did it. Those flat pickers like Tony Rice and Ricky Skaggs, those guys, that it's all right here. It's all in that pick. I've tried to like get that beat into my head, and no, those fingers just come right back out. And so it is what it is.
We'll get into your song in a moment. What was your thoughts when you first moved to Nashville? How did things work out for you? How is it working out? Did they take you in the Nashville family pretty good down there?
Oh, yeah, man. So I moved to Nashville pretty desperate and at the bottom of my barrel. I was at the time coming out of a little stint of being pretty much broke, carless, homeless, and when I say I had nothing, I had nothing. And so I worked at a donut shop in Oklahoma, in Atoka, Oklahoma, for 6 months, and put back every dime I had, enough to get about $1,000 scraped up, and applied online for a job at Target in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Got the job, had nowhere to live once I started work, but I took that $1,000, made a deposit on a tiny apartment, moved there, started working at Target, and about 6 months later, I got my first publishing deal and was able to kind of start working toward being a full-time working musician. And I punched the clock for the last time in August of 2016, and I haven't punched a clock since. Are
you hoping for a record deal, possibly?
If one comes along, great. I'm not opposed to, the independent route, though, and just building a fan base naturally that knows who I am, loves what I do, and me being able to just put out on Twitter, hey, I'm going to be at such and such place, and packing it out. There's 1,000 ways to make a living in music. And, a record deal would certainly help, with radio and some different opportunities that indie artists have a really hard time getting. But I'm just here to take whatever comes my way, I guess.
We're talking with Jordan Rayner, and she is Nashville's Woman in Black. And we're going to, let's go to the song Blackwater Rise. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Now, you co-wrote this with 2 other people. Kind of give us the story behind the song, and if you would, give us a little entertainment. There's a line in there that I really enjoyed, dancing with the devil walking. So I guess you understand that a little bit more than other people. So give us the idea on the song.
All right. So this was a very unique writing situation. I wrote with two people that I write with all the time separately. I write with Heidi Ray a lot, or especially at the time that this was written, I was writing with her a lot. And Kevin Brandt is the other guy on this song, and I write with him a lot. But to get the three of us in the room together, I think it's only happened twice. So Kevin is 61 years old. He's exactly 30 years older than me. And he and I are just best friends. I swear, man, we're cut from the same cloth. We think alike. Our sense of humor is alike. And so we write really well together. But he has this part of his brain that cooks up stories that just nobody else thinks of. And so this title, this concept of Blackwater Rise, that was the idea that he brought to the table. And of course, me and Heidi, both being, young women in our 30s and having no clue where this left field song title came from, we just kind of looked at him like, Blackwater, what? And he goes, Blackwater Rise, and of course, he's fascinated the same way I am with voodoo culture, Louisiana culture, and kind of that, even just the scenery, the scape of South Louisiana, the cypress trees, the dark water, the swamp, so he's always kind of got a little bit of that going in his brain. He's like, that black water down in the swamp that you can't see through and you don't know what's in it. And like, imagine just being out in the middle of one of those swamps and just watching that black water creep up and you can't move. Your feet are stuck in the mud. And again, me and Heidi are kind of looking at him going, okay, where is this going? He said, imagine that being like being with a lover you shouldn't be with. That you're already, knee deep in it, you're stuck, and now the water's coming to get you because you can't get out of it. You're gonna ultimately be consumed by this lover you shouldn't be with. And of course, the light bulb went off for me and Heidi, and we're like, holy, that's deep. Wow, what a concept. And so that's kind of where the idea came across. And of course, Heidi is a melody genius, man. I hate her so much for the way that her brain cooks up melodies. And so she was kind of already starting to come up with this kind of swampy chorus melody is what fell out of her fur. So the mama didn't raise no fool, but she didn't know you, so you can't know. That's very much her, just very, very cool. And so my contribution first, of course, would be the guitar part. That's what I usually hear first. So I kind of started picking on this, and so that it kind of all started to gel, and 4 hours later we had the song. So,
well, if you'd be kind enough to entertain us all, once again, we're talking with Nashville's Woman in Black, Jordan Rayner. Her Facebook page, of course, Jordan Rayner. She has a YouTube channel as well, and there's there's over 2,000 subscribed right now, and you all can go subscribe to that. This is Uncut Grass. And I'm Big Al, and Jordan Rayner to entertain us with her latest single, which is on her channel right now, and a super video to go with that, which is called Blackwater Ride.
Yep, and I hate you did such a nice intro there. That should be where I kick it off, but I'm actually having to tune down another half step to be able to sing this. So give me just 1 second while I tune down.
1001, there you go.
That's about all I need. Give me one more.
1002.
So I play in a dadgad tuning. I'm usually down a half step in dadgad, and this song happens to be in the key of C, so I got to go down one more half step. I've tried to do it in D flat, and I about popped my larynx out, so because it gets up there. So me doing this is going to bless y'all, I promise.
Oh no! I like for people to see the person behind the artist. They think everything is daisies, but it's not. No, it ain't daisies, man. It's friggin' Venus flytraps most of the time. All right, yeah, let's see how this goes. I can hear thunder, I can see smoke, I can smell trouble
a dark moon rising on a bayou night. You're a shadow riding on a lightning strike. You're no good for me, baby. No good for you. I know tomorrow will hate me for what I'm about to do. Mama didn't raise no fool, but she didn't know you, so you can't blame me. And how was I to know you ain't supposed to go to the edge along this deep? 4 feet in and I keep walking, dancing with the devil, watching black water rise. Where are my words? Where did they go? Under my skin, your touch is the voodoo, pulling me in. Shoot, man, I haven't played this in a minute. Oh, no, for me, baby. No good for you. I know tomorrow will hate me for what I'm about to do. Mama didn't raise no fool, but she didn't know you, so you can't blame me. And how was I to know you ain't supposed to go to the edge, let alone this beat? 4 feet in and I keep walking, dancing with the devil, watching black water rise. Mama didn't raise no fool, but she didn't know you, so you can't blame me. How was I to know you ain't supposed to go to the edge, let alone this deep? 4 feet in and I keep walking, dancing with the devil, watching black water rise. Black water rise.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Listen,
there you
everybody,
go.
I want to make sure that everybody knows what they've just seen here is just the raw, uncut stuff. But you can go to Jordan Rayner's YouTube channel, catch that video. Fantastic.
Right.
Did you like standing in that water?
You know, that was a good day. That was a good day. And to this day, like me and my friend we'll go driving sometimes late in the evening and we'll go over that bridge. Like, hey, let's go over Blackwater Crossing. That's what we call it now. So
I want to thank Melanie Wilson Pickens Promotions for getting you
oh
and me
yes,
together.
yes. Thank you for setting this up.
Oh, it's great to be able to do a raw, as we call it, uncut with you. And we'll have other episodes, of course. But right now we're with Jordan Rayner, Nashville Woman in Black. Well, another song that was actually recorded by Wilson Banjo Company.
That's right.
And Steve Wilson produced it, of course. And he's got a sensibility in his ears and in his heart, like you do, performing.
Yeah.
And it's When the Crow Comes Down.
Yeah.
Interesting song. I happened to look up the meaning of the bird crow, and talks about actually a lot of different things. Good omen, bad omen, talks about death, transformation. So the song itself, it kind of all builds around that. I'm not going to say any more about it because you know exactly what When the Crow Comes Down, what it's all about. But once again, your music reflects so many, and I use that word a lot, and I haven't really used it in any other conversations, but there's just so many reflections of different things from you. You're kind of hard to pinpoint.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
It is a good thing because
good.
I'm hoping that every person that either listens to your music or watches your music, they're going to have a different take.
Right.
I think there's a foundation there for you. Of course, I think there's a whole new style that's getting ready to emerge, and I think you're going to be one of the top people that's going to bring that style out.
I love that.
I mean, that's what I think. So when the crow comes down, what event happened in life for that to come about?
Well, similar to Blackwater Rise, I was writing this with Kevin Brandt, and this was, again, his brainchild. He came in one day. We were writing with one other guy. His name's Tristan Smith. He's a great artist, too, and he was mentored by Brad Paisley, so he's a phenomenal guitar player. And the three of us sat down, and, of course, Kevin, again, threw out one of these ideas, you know, that he's got. He said, I want to write a song about a crow. And me and Tristan kind of looked at Kevin like, what? And he goes, kind of, he said, I've always wanted to write about like a voodoo queen and just something spooky, kind of a story song. And of course, we were like, okay, well, why not? And so the first, good hour of this writing session, we were just talking and making up this ghost story, essentially. We weren't really playing guitar or singing. We were just writing a ghost story and trying to think of just the spookiest stuff we could think of, and eventually we had enough of the story in our brain to start shifting gears to go into the musical side of it. And again, Tristan being the phenomenal guitar player that he is, he kind of started messing around with this guitar lick, and I kind of jumped in on it with him. And and that was kind of what we came up with first, and then we just kind of started building on that, kind of that same groove, right? And melody kind of started falling out, and about 3 hours later, sure enough, we had a song about a crow, and it was super cool, and it's one of my favorites to this day.
You believe in ghosts?
I believe in spirits. My Christian faith would lead me to believe that we go one of two places when we die. And so anything that shows up in a spiritual form, I think, is either one or the other. I think we're either dealing with angels or demons, but we ain't dealing with people.
Have you seen one or the other?
I have. I've seen both. Working in the prison system like I did, there was a period of about 2 years of my life where some pretty dark things followed me home, and I would wake up in the middle of the night to dark things standing in my room. That started a lifelong struggle with panic attacks for me that I still have to this day. So yeah, I've definitely encountered both sides.
How do you, and this may seem like a dumb question because we know music is a part of you and it takes you away. Is there something else that you can do to kind of ward off the panic attacks, the different anxieties that you have other than music? And what we're doing here is we're just kind of getting a little personal with you, This is a raw video.
Sure. Well, it depends. Again, I'm a very spiritual person. I am a woman of Christian faith. And so there are times when that anxiety or that fear, I'm familiar with when it's associated with something beyond this realm. There's good old fashioned anxiety that everybody has, and it's just a physical part of our body that's, triggered by something the brain sees as a threat, and it triggers that flight or fight response. And sometimes we get a little worked up. But then, what I've experienced, like I said, by working in the prisons and seeing some dark things, there's an element at times that's attached to it that is not part of your body. And so in those instances where I feel like there's maybe something dark around and it's my body kind of responding to that presence being there, I will pray. I'll even speak out loud and, just basically say, this home and this place is mine, and, basically get the hell out. But for good old fashioned anxiety, a lot of times, I go work out, I kickbox, I do something physical to kind of drain that adrenaline out. So it just depends what I'm thrown.
Okay, Jordan, you can say out. Okay, that's enough. But I'm going to take it a step further here.
Okay.
So prisons, dark things. You say dark things. Describe me one of those dark things. Let it hang out. What what do you experience? What is that for Jordan Rayner that you have experienced?
The one that haunts me to this day, and I struggle finding a way to talk about it. But there was a girl that we encountered in an adult prison system in Gatesville, Texas, and her name's Erin, and she was 17, and she was in an adult prison because she participated in the slaughter of her whole family by brutal, violent means, using swords, blades, guns, and I worked with her one-on-one, face-to-face. I mean, we touched, we spent time alone together, and she was a very manipulative person, a true psychopath. I mean, just fits the bill perfectly. There is no remorse. There is no human element to her. She enjoys manipulating people. She enjoys lying and stringing people along, especially people like me who have good intentions of trying to help. You know, they see that as weakness, and they definitely prey on that. I was very young at the time, and she took me for a ride. And there was an instance with her where I'd worked with her all day, and then we went into the chapel area, and she was sitting in the seats in the chapel, and I was on stage and I was playing, and I looked out into the seats, and I looked at her face, and something in her face changed. Her eyes got real dark, hollow, almost like you were looking into a skeleton, like they just kind of disappeared. Mm-hmm. And that image has stuck in my head, and that was really the image that I would see a lot, like when I started having panic attacks and stuff like that. And yeah, so just finding out later on, of course, all the things that she did to her family, and that's kind of one of those stories where it's like, whew, it changes you. It changes you when you're that close to somebody that can be that violent and that depraved. So
I'll tell you the reason why I went that route is,
yeah.
Once again, with your songs, it comes out in you. So it's something that has shaped you. Whatever life may bring to you or anybody else, it's going to play a part in your songwriting ability.
Sure. Sure.
But as I mentioned, and I want to mention this again, you are real. You're one of the few real people that I've had a chance to talk to in a while. And that's the reason why I wanted to make that point and get something from your prison experience. Sure. With that, I want to mention again, you can go to Jordan Rayner's Facebook, or you can go to her YouTube channel. And there's other music on there as well. There is one, actually, that I'm going to play on there. I would play any of these on a radio show and have. But sure. the one that I really enjoy, you can sing anything. That's what really amazes me. You're not set on one style, but you've got your own style. But
you're very kind.
Well, I wrote it down on my hand because I didn't put it on my notes, and it's called X Mrs. Right.
Aha, yes.
And it's a fantastic tune, you know.
Thank you.
Upbeat, and it's just it's funny how you come up with different phrases and things, but it's all part of your life.
Yeah, it's definitely all pulled from real places.
Well, I guess we kind of talked about where the crow, or when the crow comes down, how you come up with that song. And I will mention that song was recorded once again by Wilson Banjo Company. It was released on Pine Castle.
Fantastic job on it.
Yes, they did. And it's on their 6 Degrees of Separation album. And you've got the raw footage on your YouTube channel. So would you mind giving us a little bit of that Jordan Rayner style, or When the Crow Comes Down? I would appreciate that very much.
Yeah, man. Got you. Hang on. That'll work. There's a place out in those woods where nothing dares to grow, and they say that the bravest Brave men do not go. It's the holler where they hang a voodoo queen for her sins. Now there's shadows in the trees and voices in the wind. She ain't breathed a curse in 100 years, but old folks still say there's reason to fear. When the crow comes down and thunder shakes the ground, it'll be too late to bring. She's already on her way. The chill in the wind when the fire goes out. My eyes on you when nobody's around. Run and hide and don't come out. When the crow comes down. That old black birdie was there when she died, or so they say. He was perched there on her shoulder when the lynch mob walked away. She didn't make her bed in hell. No, that holler is where she stayed. And that bird, he guards the place where his master's noose still hangs. When the crow comes down, if thunder shakes the ground, it'll be too late to break. She's already on her way. The chill in the wind when the fire goes out. My eyes on you when nobody's around. Run and hide and don't come out. When the crow comes down. Lay that brick dust at your door, so her spirit can't come in. Keep your eyes on the skies and just pray that bird flies right on past you and your kin. When the crow comes down and thunder shakes the ground, it'll be too late to pray. She's already on her way. She's in the wind when the fire goes out, but I'm on you, nobody's around. Run and hide and don't come out when the crow comes down.
When the Crow Comes Down, that is the writer version, acoustic version. Jordan Rayner, Nashville's Woman in Black, with us today here on Uncut Grass.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great stuff.
Thank you.
Personal question.
Yeah.
And I think I believe a lot of people would probably wonder about this. Are you a loner?
You know, at times, but surprisingly with my people, I like to be with them more than I like to be by myself.
And the entertainment part, when you're on the stage, you own that part.
Mm.
The Man in Black, Johnny Cash, always, and I know I've worked with his family, Joanne, and I never got to meet Johnny, but my point is on that, he had his own style, just like you, right at this point, but yet he was for the people. I said you was a loner, or I asked if you were, but you're still yet for the people. I can tell that. You're a common person. And do you enjoy getting to know your fans, the people at the concerts? Do you like talking with them?
I do, because without them, I'm just a weirdo making noise. You know, they give what I do meaning.
Do you produce your own music? I
co-produce it.
You co-produce it. Okay.
I have a great producer named Ilya Tashinsky, and he's a session veteran. He's played on probably every record you've ever heard. incredible musician and great friend. So he and I produced together.
Probably a common asked question as we finish up here our conversation, and if there's anything that I haven't covered that you would like to tell people out there, you're more than glad to do so, and I think you already know that. But the dumb question is what's for Jordan Raynor? What do you see coming, or can you see anything coming? What's your goal?
My goal is to be a force in country music and to be a pillar of the next generation, the way that Dolly was a pillar of her generation, the way Reba was a pillar of hers. I want to be someone who is a firm foundation under what country music's built on, and somebody who maintains the tradition of telling great stories, of telling the real thing, and for people to look back and say she kept the real thing going.
Well, you're the real deal. You're the real thing.
Damn straight.
Yes, you are. And it has been one big pleasure.
Likewise, my friend. You're a great conversation to have. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, there's more coming up, I'm sure, but we'll get together again. I just love to get people introduced to you in other genres, because there's always people out there looking for somebody to hang on to, and I think you're a hanger.
Man, thank you.
I really do, and I appreciate you taking the time. And if you get a chance, go to Jordan Raynor's Facebook page, go to her YouTube channel and catch the videos. I think you'll be very delighted. And hopefully you'll see those songs and those videos that I did. You'll see them differently, but you'll pick up on what needs to be picked up to connect with Jordan Raynor, and you'll know her a lot better. She's Nashville's Woman in Black. And for Uncut Grass, I'm Big Al Weekley. All right, kid, there we go. I hope that you didn't find that too easy or anything like that.
I absolutely loved every second.
Well, I'm a straightforward person, so if you didn't, tell me. But I don't like being common. I like digging in the stuff.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, man, you asked questions that did surprise me, and I have not answered in an interview yet, and I really appreciated getting to share a new side of me that I haven't gotten to share yet.
Well, thank you.
The voice in my ear, all it takes is a whisper, and I disappear.